Hi guys, welcome back to my podcast. Again, my name is Natasha and you're listening to the Traveling Pants of a Single Mom. Today I have my best friend Allison Abana. She is a dancer, international dance instructor, and a choreographer from New York, New Jersey area. She has her own youth performing dance company based in Bergen County, New Jersey, called the Allison Owusu Experience Dance Company. She also travels internationally to teach and choreograph. She has now started a new venture with her writing. She will be breaking into the motivational speaking world in 2018, as well as podcasting her own show. So you guys welcome my best friend Allison, my ace, my soul sister. Say, hey girl.
Hey y'all, how y'all doing?
So I'm so happy to have you.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. It's just such a pleasure and an honor to be a part of this new venture that you're experiencing and putting out to the world. So I'm extremely honored. Thank you for having me.
No problem, girl. Thank you for coming. I mean, I need to be thanking you. Like, you came all the way from Jersey to be a part. I mean, to just be a part of my life with this whole all because of a man experience. Mm-hmm. Like, you came out your way. So I actually thank you for coming all the way to being a part of that journey.
Thank you.
Talking about all because of a man, how was that experience for you?
For me, I mean, the documentary was just awesome. It was really it was an experience. Like, I really appreciated how transparent the ladies were and you were with your stories. If I'm taking it from the top, from the rooter to the tutor, I would say production wise, just how everything was organized was just extremely professional.
Yeah, that's that James organized. Don't play.
He wasn't playing any games.
He had that thing put together, from beginning to end.
Those edges were laid and they were slayed. Yeah. I was like, okay, all right, we had our t-shirts. Venue was impeccable, was
beautiful. If no one has ever been to the Orlando Science Center, beautiful. If you live in the Orlando area,
oh my God,
beautiful. That venue was the bomb.
It was breathtaking. When I actually went into the space where the film was being set, I was just like, oh my God. This is like
he did
dome.
that.
It's beautiful.
He did that. I definitely can say he did that.
Yeah. So that was itself was great. And obviously I partaked in volunteering. So I knew in terms of the organization behind the scenes was also very professional. People that were helping, they were so kind and sweet and very attentive. It was just an all good around event, and the turnout was amazing. I'm just so
the support
excited for him.
I was
and
like,
you guys.
wow, for it to be his first production, the support, it was a full house.
Yes
So that was great. All in all,
beautiful.
A great experience. So we started off the show with all your accomplishments. So tell me about your career. Like, how did this dance world start for you?
Girl, so I was a little kid, obviously, dancing all around the house. My mom was like, I'm going to put you in dance class. You know, like, she wasn't from this country, but she moved here. She had me and my brother, and then later on had my younger brother. But she saw it within herself, like, you know, let me nurture this creativity that I see in my daughter, which I'm very grateful for, that she was able to do that. And it actually became later on my career and something that I'm able to touch many people with. Yeah. So, like, I'd like to give a nod to her because she started, not only did she have me, she also nurtured my talents. And for, you know, a foreigner to do something like that, it's just commendable, and I thank her for that. So that's how that started. She put me in class, and instantaneously, like, I was like, ooh, I love this, you know? And then when we moved to New Jersey, I continued training. I was dancing within schools, within the schools I was in, middle school, high school, and training after high school. And I had the opportunity to teach young kids dance. It was a girlfriend of mine, Eliza Powell. She was like, hey, my church is having a youth ministry group, but it's going to be like a training school for dance. And, when they asked for teachers, I immediately thought of you. And I was like, really? I was like, I've never taught. So once I did that, I realized whoa, this is my calling. I really enjoy it. And I was like, this is something I can completely do full throttle. And it just sprung off from there. I was like, this is a different experience from what I've done training and performing. I was like, I love the pedagogical experience of dance. And it just was me, So that's how that started. And I continued doing that. Within doing that, it came a point in time where I wanted to do more. As I was getting more and more comfortable in my skin and my teaching style and in the studio setting, it became my home. It was something that I thrived in. And I wanted to give more to the dancers that I was nurturing. And in the studio, sometimes you're limited. You're limited to that hour class or that hour and a half class, or, and it's once a week. And, I'm teaching multiple classes, but they're different groups, different kids, different styles or whatever. And you're just limited to that. And sometimes also, if you're a dancer, a young dancer, you start at 2.5 from senior year, it gets a bit mundane. You're like, okay, I've done this, but you also don't want to leave because the experience of moving up and becoming the senior, one of the top dancers before you leave, that's also an experience as well. But I wanted to give them something more that they can do in conjunction with the studio, almost work harmoniously in doing so. So I created this company where I would give them outside experiences along with the experiences they were getting in the dance studio, where they can put on their resume for college, where they can just continue to feed that hunger of dance, train even harder in classes, perform even better at their studio events and performances, because they now have this other thing that they're doing that's helping nurture that talent and that love and passion for dance. So I created Passion Flux. That was the original company, Passion Flux Dance Company. And I did that for 2 years. After that, I took a hiatus. I wasn't sure if I was going to do it again because it is a lot of work. And the type of person I am, and firsthand, which I'm sure you'll let the listeners know, that I go hard.
Yes, you do.
So I want things to be perfect, and, I'm very anal about things like that. And most importantly, those kids, the dancers, I want them to be comfortable. I want the experience to be amazing for them. And I don't want them to have to need or want for anything. So I try to accommodate them as best as I can. And that takes a lot of work.
It does.
When you're, and I'm sure we'll get into later on, when you're not full within yourself as a human being, as a woman, whatever, you don't have much to give. But, at that time when I decided to stop, I was depleted and I needed rest.
Because you were such a busy,
girl,
I would call you back in those days and it would be days that I would just not hear anything, and you Tosh, girl, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. But I can definitely say it was 2 things in my life, or 2 experiences, that showed me what passion really is. And I would say, when I came to Jersey to your show, the 5 Stages of Grief was the name of your show. And this experience with James. These 2 things showed me what it means to have a passion and work for it. Because you guys work like slaves. And
Hebrew.
Listen, when I went to New Jersey to support her for her show. I think I went out there on a Friday. Now, along with her dance company, she is a dance instructor. So the schools that she was working for, I think it was the end of the year and it was competition season, and she had her hip hop class had a competition. And she picked me up from the airport. I dropped my bags off at the house, and we went straight to the competition. And I think I got there in the afternoon. We were at the competition until around midnight.
Girl.
We left the competition. Now the next day, Saturday, is her concert for her company.
Yeah.
So we left the show. We went to Walgreens. She had to make her gifts that she was for her girls, for her dancers. We had to go to Walgreens to get some stuff done. This, that. Then we go back to her house. We put the gifts together. And by around 2, 3 in the morning, I crash. I'm like, girl, I can't. Like, you're over here working like a slave, and I'm tired. So I left her like 2, 3 in the morning. And like around 6 in the morning, I see her creeping in the room. I'm thinking it's time to go. It's time to get up to do her company. No, she took like an hour, maybe 2 hours the most nap. The alarm went off and she was like, let's get it. And I'm looking like, what? Where's the sleep? But you know what? When you have a passion and you want something to be perfect, you don't sleep until it's over.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
No.
Once it's done, then you can get your rest.
Girl,
but before, it's like, listen, it's business. And with me starting this podcast, I'm starting to get a little bit of taste of that. It's like, listen, I got something to do. I come home from work and I'm brainstorming, I'm plotting, I'm writing down, I'm trying to get music ideas, I'm, networking, you know what I'm saying, researching, you know what I'm saying, and I'm starting to see, like, usually back before the podcast was in the picture, I would come home from work, I'll cook dinner, lay down, talk on the phone, whatever, deal with the kids and stuff like that. But now I'm like coming home, dealing with the kids, making dinner, and I'm brainstorming. I'm putting down ideas, and in that time is quiet time. Like, I normally don't do the quiet time. It's like I'm on the phone, or I'm watching something, or I'm talking with the kids. But when I'm brainstorming, I'm literally no phone. You know what I'm saying? And I struggle with that social media.
That phone. She's an addict.
Okay, guys.
Addict.
Don't go in.
Okay.
But that phone and that social media
to peel you away from the matrix for so long.
It's serious, but this podcast is showing me, like, I don't even think about that when it's time to brainstorm and write down my ideas. There's no room. So listen, I'm telling you, between you and James with the All Because of a Man and coming to your show, I realized, like, when you want something, there's no rest. You know what I'm saying?
I remember we went to Cheesecake Factory after the event, and I remember I was sitting at James's table, and I remember looking over at him, and he had this familiar look on his face. It was a look of exhaustion. And I was like, ooh, I know that very well. And I remember looking at him, and I'm like, but why is he still looking like that? I'm confused. It was exhaustion and anxiety. Like, he had that look. And shortly after that, after looking at him and realizing that he was in this state, he brought over a cake and surprised you ladies with it. And it said, "We wrapped." And I was like, it's a wrap. There we go. And I realized at that moment, I'm like, yes. This is why, because you do not rest until every element is done. And he wanted to make sure, even that cake, how it was constructed and put together, he wanted to make sure you guys felt appreciated and special. And that was his last nod for the night. Right. And he could not rest until that done. Cake. And when it was done, he surely gathered his edges and went home. Right. Yes, he wasn't playing no games. Like, he didn't even wait for me. Like, no, we was the last one. You know, like, I went to the hotel looking for my bags. Like, wait, where's my bags? James ain't even wait. Like, Because someone told him there was a rest.
Right.
The Lord rested on the seventh day. Someone told him there was a rest.
Exactly.
So he went to go find that rest.
Well,
yes.
I mean, and I want to shout James out. Thanks again. Like, that was the best experience ever. So thanks again, James Mons, for even, considering me to be a part of your production. Best experience ever.
Yeah.
So, being that you're a choreographer, let's talk about some of your pieces. Like, what was your most emotional piece or most important piece that you've put together?
I would have to say to that question, it would be The Ugly Show. That's a piece I constructed for my old high school, my alma mater, the Terpsichoreans in Teaneck, New Jersey. Shouts out, Miss Miller Porter. I constructed that piece based on a piece that I had seen from the Camille A. Brown Company. They put together a piece about minstrel shows called Mr. Tal Lee Rents. It was great. Anyway, so that was my inspiration, and I wanted to create something similar, on a youthful level, because her company is comprised of adults.
Right.
So I took that, and her influences were some of my influences. Spike Lee's Bamboozled. This is Spike Lee joint. Yes. So
Shouts out piece, to Spike Lee.
Shouts out. Snap. So that piece, if you get a chance, watch it. It's one of my favorite movies, one of my top 5s. It's a satire about Black people being depicted in entertainment on television. It's just amazing. It's so much involved into it. I would just say check it out. I don't want to make things too long, but definitely check that out. That was part of my inspiration. And also at the time, like I work with kids, I was seeing a lot of mimicking, and I wanted to unpack that and like kind of get on their level, teach them something educational about minstrel shows that they knew nothing about. I created this piece in like 2013, I believe. And something that could be educational, fun, and also something that they're interested in doing. The piece started with one of the dancers up top on a box, and he had strings. There were strings attached to the floors on the stage, and he was holding on to them with 2 sticks I had glued together on each side. Like a puppet? Yes, like a puppet. So it was like the dancers were in front, and it was like a marionette, like controlling the movement to this beautiful violin. Shouts out to Matt, violinist, who composed the music. And it was just this beautiful movement, but it was sad almost, but it was very staccato. They were all moving like dull army people. And then one of the dancers shouts out, "It's show time." And then, so once that happens, they go into the next segment of the piece, which is Lindy Hop. And Lindy Hop is a traditional dance formulated in Harlem by Black kids back in the days of the Cotton Club era. Right. Which unfortunately is sadly dying, that style of dance, but other cultures have taken it up. White people have been keeping it alive, but unfortunately a lot of people don't know about it. It's amazing. If you go online, go on YouTube, type in Lindy Hop, there's like little small cut videos of like the amazing tricks that these young kids were doing. They were like death defying. Yeah, so we like mimicked a lot of it, and that was like the performance. It's like, oh, we're on. Minstrel shows like from back in the day when we, as Black people, had to put on blacker faces, a black face, they call it blackface, and really red fire truck lips, and make our lips huge so we can depict buffoonery and coonery, so that we would be looked at as entertainment, if you will, but like comical, like, oh, let's make even more fun of them. They're buffoons, you know, but we hid a nod to the people that had to do that in entertainment in order for us to have the amazing performers that we have now. The Beyoncés, the Michael Jacksons, the Janet Jacksons, the Ushers, were able to have those because of what our ancestors have done for us. And they had to wear the mask. And the mask, unfortunately, was a sad mask. There's this piece. I wanted to use it. I wanted to use this particular poem in the piece, but the kids weren't connecting to it, so I ended up using "I got no strings to hold me down." I used that instead. But these are high school kids, but they just weren't connecting to what Maya Angelou was saying. It's a piece called I don't know why I'm forgetting it, but if you type in Maya Angelou The Mask on YouTube, you'll find it. And she talks about she got inspired to write the poem because she was on the bus with and there was a woman laughing. It didn't matter like what was happening. Like somebody passed by, she's like, somebody, you know, said something on the side, somebody's looking at her, you know, like it wasn't a rhyme or reason to this giggle. And then she said to herself, and she'll say this in the piece, she was like, she's not laughing. That's a defense mechanism. It's a survival mechanism. She's laughing to keep my people alive. So it gave me chills. I was just like, yes. Because, you know, so they had to wear the mask back then. They had to. Like, if you appear aloof, you know, or aloft, that's what I meant to say. If you appear aloft and you appear, like, not present, you know what I mean? Like, you won't be a threat. You know, and then you can keep your children alive. You can keep your man alive. You can keep yourself alive to fight another day, to live another day. And continue on that legacy of hiding your true self. So it which we do every day. Every day. But it was very extreme then, you know? And so basically that's pretty much what the piece was about. After they did the Lindy Hop section, it transitioned into Got No Strings to Hold Me Down, and they shed the strings. They were no longer these puppets that were controlled by the man or by society. They were just them. And then it transitioned to a black light. They were wearing white shirts, white gloves, white socks, so all you saw was this white moving with this music, boom 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 boom. It had like a lot of heart and bass and 808 into it, so it was just like almost mirroring or mimicking, excuse me, our ancestors, the original people, of what they had to do and how they moved in life, you know, tribal movements, and getting back to the essence of who they really were, and not these masks and not these puppets. So for me, that was, I know that's so long, but I just have to break it down. But still, that needs a breakdown, because you know, that's what I want my podcast to do, to teach. There's a lot of things we don't know, and talking to different people, we're going to be able to teach, you know, and touch a different audience through the things that we discuss. So that's amazing. And I would definitely love to see that piece. Like, yes, I have the DVD. So next time you're in Jurors, we got to watch it. I feel like that's why I made sure, like, when you had your show, your concert in May, I was like, you know what, Tasha? You might don't have it, but you finna go to Jersey to support your girl. Those coins. Yes, I was like, because you started your company when I left Jersey, and you started your company shortly after. I missed everything. Again, I just knew you were busy. Like, okay, what's up with Allison? She's just busy. She going. And you would tell me about the amazing things you guys were doing, but I couldn't be there. I missed it. So this go round, when the show was coming up, I was like, man, Tasha, you really probably shouldn't, but guess what? You should, because you're going to support her, you know, because you support so much I do anyway. So this was like,
you know what? Just go. Don't even think about it. And it was the best experience ever because, like I said, one, I got a taste of passion, like what people do when they really love and care about what they do.
Yeah.
And just seeing how you interact with your kids, like these girls, they love you. You know?
I love them.
They love
amazing.
you. And it
them.
shows like we need people like you. We need those dance instructors. We need those teachers that care about the children.
Yeah.
Because you have children that are in homes and they don't get what they need from their parents.
Right.
You know, they're busy or they're doing things, they're working, they're just not present.
Right.
And teachers like you give them that hope. I know so many students, even for myself.
Right.
I had teachers that their opinion mattered. Like they pushed me,
right?
You know, and I saw that. I saw that how they worked for you,
right?
How they respect you, you know. So that was just an amazing experience coming up there to see you. But your girls are amazing. Like
Thank
those
you.
pieces,
I love them.
I was in there like, yo, I knew my friend had skills, but yo, she is awesome. Like she's out here doing it.
Thank you. That
so
I
mean, that was like a good experience.
That means a lot. And why I revived my company, which I changed the name to the Allison Owusu Experience, was a major part to 3 young ladies that I've been teaching since they were young. Lindsay has been with me, I think, since she was 6 or 7, and her, along with Crystal and Nicole, they were seniors, and I wanted to give them this last experience of what I can do as a teacher, and just not even about me, like how I can help them evolve, you know, full circle into that talent of dance, because it's not just dance with me, it's mentorship. And I really love and care about them like they're my own kids. All of them. All of them. Like, you know, it's a labor of love.
I think Lindsay, because when I went, I took some photos of their company and of the girls. And I think it's Lindsay. I mean, they worked for you. I took a picture and she was dancing. And when I say that girl was working from them fingertips to them toenails.
Girl.
That picture was amazing. Like, I'm literally in the process of getting that photo printed out on a canvas so I can hang it above my bed. That picture, she slayed.
Wow, she would love that.
She slayed. I was I looked at that picture like, dang, first of all, dang, Tasha, you took that picture?
Right.
You know, like,
wait,
like, you know what I'm saying? Beautiful. Like, dang, you took that picture, but on top of that, it was like, yo, my girl out here, she had these kids out here working. They looked good.
Yeah.
They looked good. So I know that they had to appreciate that year.
Absolutely. I hope so. I hope they did. I really put a lot.
You can tell that they do.
I hope they did. Lindsay, I remember watching her, you know, from when she was younger, and there was this one year we were doing this song called Ramba Lamba Bang Bang, that year of our modern. She broke through her shell, and she was this beast. And she's been a beast since that point on. Like, she came in, she started working hard, and she had this presence about her face. She was a monster. I was like, okay, she is ready.
Exactly.
She slays, and she's slayed ever since. So I love her. Shouts out to all my girls, all the seniors that left. I love you. Keep living. Lindsay's at Penn State right now doing her thing.
Wow.
Crystal, Nicole. There we go. I almost called her Natasha, but Nicole, all of them. And my new group. I love them.
You've been teaching for so long. How does it feel to see your kids, your girls transition?
It's amazing. Like, and I have a story. We talked about this before. Like, sometimes I do this because this is just my nature. I don't do this for any reward, money or whatever, or recognition. This is just who I am. You know, I give. I'm a giver. I'm an empath. And one of my older students out of my first company, you know, she works with my company now, and I was just advising her about stuff to do with the biz. Right. And I told you about this, and she had messaged me back, and she was just like, thank you. You know, you've been with me from the beginning or for a long time, and you've always had my back, and I appreciate that, you know, in that sense, you know, not verbatim what she said, but pretty much. And I was just like, wow, you know, I have been around for a while and I have done things for people. It was something I needed. She didn't know that. Shouts out to Jennifer Payon, called Irish. She didn't know, but she like really made my night, because it's almost validation, like that self-love, that self-care, like, yeah, you're important. You do work. You do work in this life, in this world. You do a service for people.
Exactly, you do.
And you have to remember your own worth. It even checked me, like, yes, you know, I deserve to receive this in love and appreciation.
Yeah, because you work for your company, you work for your girls.
Hebrew slave.
Yeah, like you definitely do. So I can definitely say whatever you've received thus far and whatever you're going to receive, you definitely appreciate it because you put in. And you're gonna get back what you put in 100-fold. I do definitely believe that. Now let's talk about where we started.
Okay. Yes.
I don't know. Let me tell you guys, I really just knew that I wasn't gonna like this girl. Because she grew up in the bougie side of town. I grew up in the hood right now, but shout out to Patterson, P-Town. But I grew up where when somebody coming for you, you take it as fighting words. So I grew up with that perspective. I meet these bougie people and I'm like, all right, boom, I can't talk a certain way. You know, when I'm talking about other friends, we cursing and carrying on, and something happened. I don't even know what happened. Something happened, and I was like, oh, dang, Tosh, think about what you're going to say. Don't curse. So I was like, well, you know what? Scoop that. Who told me to say scoop that? I should have just said F that. Because I said scoop that. And they turned it into a joke, son.
That was hilarious. It was me, Jason, Althea,
Deandra.
Yes. And when she said, I was like, scoop that. We were like, scoop that. Scoop that. Get it out of here. So we have a lingo. She didn't know, like, my group of friends and what we do, and now you have a lingo too. So we speak our own language, and she speaks her own language too with her other friends. We have a lingo, and my students know this too. I have my own different lingos and all that. Like, at the time, we would just say things with a high pitch and just like be silly with it. So when she said scoop that, we're like, scoop that. And I was like, and get it out of here. And I was like, and get it out of here.
I can't. And she dragged that thing on for days.
We kept saying.
For days. Like, I had
scoop
like
that. Get it out of here. One time I looked at you. I think you rolled your eyes at me. I was like, oh, she doesn't like that?
I don't. I'm coming for her? I didn't. I was like, girl, I don't like you. Like, no, because boy,
scoop that.
I wanted to come for you so hard, but I was like, man, Tasha, you can't bring the hood over here. Girl, so just let it go.
She had no idea, like, we are silly. And listen, we weren't attacking her. She took it like, oh, these people trying to make fun of me. I was a butt and joke.
They was attacking me.
No.
The way I felt.
Scoop that and get it out of here.
Nah, the way I was laughing,
that's like you and Talene in that bar. That's what it was. We were like, scoop that. Get out of here.
I know. I guess I can say how Talene feel about me laughing at her about that barb costume.
Barb.
That's how I felt about that scoop that. And you know what? I think I even used it as an example to Talene. That scoop that. But girl, I don't even know how our friendship blossomed or flourished from that point.
Either, because apparently you were affected, but that was just
I think about that till this day.
Really?
That's good.
It was a joke.
Yeah,
I mean, and you know how we are
now. So yes. I'm not affected now. I'm good. Okay. But at that moment,
you feeling bad.
I was like, first of all, I was struggling because Patterson, just saying that you was from Patterson, it was kind of hard in that Bergen County area because it's like, Patterson, you from Patterson. You know what I'm saying? So I was trying to, like, I knew Jason, which was, shout out to Jason, one of our friends. Jason Johnson, yes. And I knew him from working at New York Times. What's that, PCF? PCF. So we knew each other prior to going to college. And when I went to college, I was walking through the student media, and he saw me, and he was like, "Hey, Tasha." And ever since then, I just became a part of their group. But they've been friends for years, since elementary or middle, so high school and stuff like that. So I just wasn't a part of that.
Right.
But eventually I became just, a part of that group.
That's so
But
true.
it was so hard, coming from Patterson and people having the mindset that, people from Patterson are hood or people from Patterson are this. I was trying to fit in.
Right.
And with that scoop
and also she comes from a place in Patterson, like, they're ready. Okay? They are ready. It's like New York. When I used to live in the Bronx, they are ready. They will come for your edge. All right? And you have to either be prepared with the snap back, or you will get snapped back to the floor.
Right.
So you thought we were coming for you.
Exactly.
And we were just having fun.
Listen,
I
don't know, but I'm happy from that point. Even though we had that experience, we grew.
Yes.
Our friendship grew. We literally, this is what, 2001, and here we are, 2000 going into 2018, still friends. We've been through so much together, boyfriends, dating, me having kids, and your career. It's like me growing. You know what I'm saying? It's like so much. The transition is crazy.
It's true.
And I remember one time in our relationship where I don't even know why we stopped talking, but we stopped talking for about a year.
Something petty.
It probably was. It probably was. And we stopped talking for a year. And I was so miserable in these streets.
It made me sick too, but I was like, I guess it's over.
I was sick, but I think you mentioned, my friend Troy, he was here, and him and I were talking, and I was like, man, I miss Allison. Because he knew Allison too, because he would come up from Jamaica, and then he would hang out with us, go to New York with us, and do stuff like that. So he knew who you were, and he was like, man, just call her. And I was like, man, she gonna shut me down. But I said, you know what, Tasha, put that pride aside and just do it. And I called, and I'm happy I did, because we reconciled, and then we just kept going like nothing happened. You know what I'm saying?
So it was good.
And so just the journey of our friendship alone is like, you're so important to me. Like, everything I do, it's like I consult, like, Allison,
we're each
what you think? Yes, what you think? How do you feel about this? And that's very important, you know. And before I even go into this, I want to know, like, what is the importance of our friendship to you? Like,
oh my God, it means the world to me. I don't have sisters, so you're my sister,
right?
And when we're young, we don't even really realize as women how important it is to have female friends, and to have like a sister you could call your own, outside of your family. We don't really have that type of experience or have that knowledge of an experience. We're just living, and we'll let petty things get in the way, like what happened to us, or we'll get catty and chatty, and then we'll deem like, females are it's always too dramatic, like I like hanging out with guys. But it's so important to have a community of women and connect with another woman, because the things that we go through, even just the physical of what our bodies do on a physical level, men don't understand that. Like, there's nothing that will compare to a woman's work. And when I think about Maxwell's song, it's a man singing that, but he was insightful enough to know a woman's work
Yeah.
You know, it's
Maxwell.
so. Come on, Maxwell.
I love him.
Yes.
Yeah, shout out.
Yes.
That's my man.
Like, a woman's work is a woman's work.
Yes.
And we can talk in circles and we can commune with each other in ways that we cannot with our husbands, and we cannot with our boyfriends, and we cannot with our guy friends, and we cannot with our fathers and brothers.
Yeah.
So it's so important. Now, as I'm older and I keep getting older, I'm realizing how much of a need and importance it is. Like, you are my closest friend, you know, and I don't even have connections like this. You know, I have a few good friends, but you, like, there's nothing like this, you know, and I'm trying to build even more deeper connections,
right?
Because I think it's important to have a community of women, you know, not just one, because we're only one person. We can only share ourselves sparingly, or as much as we can, so we can feed ourselves and our families and whatever in terms of like emotional and aspect. But like, it's just so important. So for me, our friendship means the world. Like, you are truly my sister, and I'm saying this in your eyes. Everyone knows. I'm looking at her. I thank you and I honor you. You know, I this is something I would have said at my party, because you know, I know you're not able to go, but I honor you as a woman. I honor you as my soul sister. I honor you as a lifetime friend and a lifetime soulmate. Thank you so much for your service in my life. No, seriously, it's a service. It's a service. Those late night calls, they're services. Yeah, you know, those crying on the phones and those being there for each other, like, it's a service. And I thank you, you know, and it means the world to me. And I love you so much.
Love you too, girl.
And anything, you already know, you're my ace. Anything you need, and just to piggyback on the premiere, just really quickly, because I know we have other things to talk about. But I was so honored to be able to be there for one of your daughters. At the time, you were sitting with the crew, and you know, there was a section where you were talking about her dad, and it was a bit hard. And she asked to sit next to me because someone was sitting between us, and we just held each other, you know, and we were in that moment of supporting one another. And I was just happy I could be there for her in that way, and give her that sense of female community and nurturing, you know, and I just wanted to bring that up, because that's part of my gratitude of your service, you know, and obviously I love her, so she needs me, you know, but
you're there.
Right.
And I also, you know, the importance of our friendship, and we've had this discussion before. You have never given up on me. Like, if I didn't feel like I was good enough, or I would complain about being complacent, like I want to do more, but I don't know what. Know what. You would sit with me, you would brainstorm with me, you would ask me, Tasha, you know, you would never give up. All these years of just trying to figure out what it is that I want to do, where do I want to be, who am I? You know, you always just encouraged me and stayed on that path. And I remember when I came to Jersey for your show, you took me to a tea spot. We were sitting there, we was eating tea. I had spoke about in the past, I wanted to start a YouTube channel called The Traveling Pants of a Single Mom. And I wasn't comfortable with the camera. So even though I never told you, but you just couldn't understand, why don't she want to do this video? Like, why does she want to do the YouTube? But it was just, I wasn't comfortable with the video, being on video, even though it would be me traveling and, you know, showing the world, like, you could be a single mom and you can do other things. You don't have to be restricted. But you kept trying to motivate me, like, girl, you brought up this idea. It's a good idea. Do it. And I'm like, I don't know. And you told me, get up. And I stood up, and you took a picture, and then you sat at the table and we're talking, and you started, I guess, doing whatever on your phone. And then you showed me this this image, like, you made up my whole logo right there, like the Traveling Pants of a Single Mom. Now the logo that I'm using, you sat there and you created it, you know, and here it is 6 months later or so after that experience. I'm using that logo, like I've passed it by in my phone gallery and, like, you know, looked at it so many times and trying to think, what am I going to do with this?
Right.
You know, and when I finally came up with the idea of starting my podcast, I said, this is going to be my logo.
Aww.
And all because you kept believing. You never let me just settle with being unhappy with where I am. Yeah. And I just want to thank you for always encouraging me, always making me know and feel like I can do better, I deserve better. If I was experiencing things in relationships, you would let me know, like, girl, that's unacceptable. That's unacceptable, girl. You deserve better than, right. You knew, like, and I just be like, man. And it was times in my life that I wasn't receiving the things that you were trying to tell me, but finally it's starting to click. And even though it's been years of me not receiving and understanding, you just kept going. And I just want to just thank you. I can't thank you enough.
Oh,
you know, I just can't. And here we are growing into, we are women now.
I know, I can't believe it. I'm 19, y'all.
Yeah, girl, please. I wish. Take me back. Can I go back? Because I'm just looking like, girl.
Right.
You're getting. Oh, I mean, we look good.
I know.
For our age, but that age, the number.
Nice.
Girl, I be trying. I be trying out here in these streets.
I'm like, all right, skin,
I be trying out here in these streets, but it's a struggle. But I mean, we both look good. Like, most of the people that's in my circle, they look good for their age. Like, we out here looking good.
Your circle.
So I'm happy about that. And I'm, you know, something that we discussed before, and I want to bring it up again. Just as you're saying, like, women, we need to learn how to support each other and connect and, you know, have each other's backs. Yesterday after the premiere, we went to the Cheesecake Factory. And the women that were a part of the Cheesecake Factory, I'm sorry, a part of the documentary, shout out to Ingrid, Mateen, and Tiffany, and Tasha. We all had on white. And so we were looking beautiful. You know what I'm saying? And when we walked into the Cheesecake Factory, I remember it was 4 women sitting. They were having were having dinner or whatever. And when they first saw us, it was like a look of like, who they think they is. But they immediately caught it. And when we walked back, they stopped us and it was like, you guys look beautiful. Aww. They was like, what's the occasion? You know what I'm saying? And I was like, man, you know, I remember one time, you know, we would just look and be like, oh, they think they it. And you would sit at the table and you would just talk about them. You know, it's like, I was saying earlier, or one other time I was saying to you that as Black people, we need to support each other more. Right. You know what I'm saying? It's getting better, but sometimes we just prey on each other's downfall. You will see somebody struggling to get this goal, and instead of helping them, you might have that tool to give them to make it, but instead of helping them, we watch and we wait. And when they fall, we laugh and we say, look, I knew they wasn't gonna make it. You know what I'm saying? But I'm happy that we're not where we need to be, but we're coming into a place where we're supporting each other. We're encouraging each other.
Getting better.
It's better. It's so much better, you know?
It stems from systematic racism and oppression. Like, it's not ironic that other cultures are set up for success. You know, like that, you know, a Chinese culture can come here and thrive and create generations of legacy of wealth. You know, it's not ironic. We've been systematically oppressed, and that's the reason for that. For those of you that don't know, go online, look up the Willie Lynch letter. When you read that letter, you're able to see the mental brilliance, almost, you know, I hate to call it that, but brilliance of this one man, how to break down a slave. That, and he said it himself, these are his words: if you do this correctly, this will continue to have residual effects, not in these words verbatim, but pretty much this, residual effects on the Black community 400 years from now, hundreds of years from now. And it currently is still a thing. So definitely educate yourselves. Like, know that when you look at people that are stuck, that don't have the capacity to grow or to support one another in terms of like the Black community, it's systematic and it's ingrained psychologically. And once you break the chains from educating yourself, you're able to evolve, right? You know? So it all ties into each other, you know?
Yeah, and it's important to support each other. You know, I like how the Black community is starting to uplift and support each other, you know, and it's very important. That's a part of me having the podcast too. I want different people to come in and talk about their brand, you know, talk about what they're doing, reach different audience, so that people can go out there and say, ooh, I have my sister who's a fashion designer, J. Lorraine. She has her J. Lorraine. I want people to know, you know. I have a friend of mine, Mateen, who's also was a part of All Because of a Man. She has her fashion, she's a fashion designer. Her company is called Tame. You know, I want people to know this is a platform to talk about All Because of a Man. It's a platform to just push our work because we need to support each other. All the other communities, all the other races, they're on top because they support what each other do.
Yeah, but you know, as I said, like, it's set up that way so they can do that. It's getting better for us because now we're realizing the things that we've been told are lies and have been lies, and we're trying to re-evolve and just grow from that. It's just so important to just uplift each other, and just even as women, I look at Instagram and Facebook, and it's so many things that are happening, you know, like you put me on some yoga stuff, and women who have what you call those femme circles or soul circles, like femme festivals, femme teas. It's basically, women have been doing this for years. They've been doing sister circles or women's circles. Ironically, they do something similar in other cultures and stuff like that, but obviously in the Black community, the Black American community, they've lost their heritage and traditions that they have had prior to being here through slave trade, or just being here already as a Black person in America or different countries, and being pillaged and raped and massacred, you know, and just ripped from their families. So these are things that are ancient that people are starting to get
back into.
Right, exactly. And it's necessary. This is where we charge. One thing in terms of relationships that I started to realize is that what we've been taught, what we've seen, especially in the Black community, of how we treat a relationship, how we deal and communicate with our men, is wrong. You know, like, we're bringing everything to them. Men are totally different creatures. You know what I mean? We need to deal with them accordingly, as they deal with us accordingly. We need to know their strengths and their weaknesses. And communication, all things being real, is not a strength for them in the way that we communicate. They communicate non-verbally. We communicate verbally. So it reminds me of the Peanuts, that cartoon from back in the day. When the adults talk, it's wah, 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 wah. And we don't know what they're saying, you know, but we can hear the peanuts talking. We can hear the kids talking. I translate that to when we're trying to bark at our men or whatever. There's just different ways in handling what you need done and what you need to communicate. And the female circles provide that.
Yeah. Because it's an art.
Yes.
It's an art to communicating with men. It's an art to knowing when to speak and not to speak. And the way we are now, we are so used to, I know I am, this is a daily struggle, speaking my mind. I always feel like I gotta get that out. Like, okay, I need to say, this is what's on my mind. I need to talk about it. Like, I need to, but it's not always important to do that. You have to know when to just be still.
Right.
You know?
There's a sense of grace and peace. And, you know, people think of subservience as weakness or whatever. It's not really weakness. It's a softness. It's a poise. You know, you don't have to get rowdy. You know, that causes dysfunction.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're bringing dysfunction into your world when you communicate like that to a man. You know, so I find that, you know, through my own personal experiences and what my journey is and everything is, there's just different ways that we need to relearn, you know, miseducation of our damn selves. We have to get it together.
Exactly. Like I don't know what I was reading, and if it was a podcast, I don't know what was going on, but they were saying how, you know, being submissive, like, you know how in other culture, maybe like the Chinese culture, the women seem like they don't have a voice, or maybe they seem like they stand back, or whatever the case may be. And I think she was saying, like, you'll see like the family and the woman would be walking like behind the man, and the man is like, you know, in front, and it's like, you know, and culture. She was saying, I don't remember what culture, so don't quote me, or please don't take me, you know how that goes, you know, when you say something, you know, not right. But she was saying that at the end of the day, though, that wife runs the home. When that man goes to work and he brings that check, he brings that check home to that subservient wife. She handles everything. You know what I'm saying? Because they know when to be still. Right. Versus us, we got to speak. And like I said, I'm trying to work on that daily, because it is power in silence. Absolutely. It is power in silence. Absolutely. And it's an art. And that's why, like, these circles, these women's circles is important, like what they're teaching, because that's where you learn that you become women, right, and you become more calm in your spirit, right, because a lot of the times we're just angry, and we need to get it out, to someone that understands us, which is usually another female, exactly, you know, it's not the guy. In terms of the subservience and that, you know, stepping behind, I don't fully agree with that, but I use the word in a different sense of like stillness. Maybe I shouldn't even use that word, because I don't fully agree with the negative stigma of it. And I don't agree with the stepping back. I just what I do agree with is being a little bit more calm, being in that position I think calm, period. Not even a little bit more. Like, just more calm. Like, you know, of course, we're not about that step back life. Girl. We're not about that step back life, but just being calm. Yeah. And that silence, you could get a lot more done versus wanting to attack, you know? Because that attack, it does nothing. Because a lot of these men, they shut down. Absolutely. You attack, you come to them a certain way, and you shut down. Yeah. You know, they shut down. So it's more so when I use that as an example, just to say that we just need to learn how to be more humble when we're dealing with our men. We need to learn how to just...
It's a feminine spirit.
Yes.
You know, what we've learned is masculine spirits. And we try to bark and be men when we're not men. That's too much testosterone. Like, that needs to sit down. It's wrong. You know what I mean? Even we come from homes that are not American homes. If in most cases, I'm not saying all, but majority of cases, you go into a Caribbean household, you go into a Haitian household, an island household, you go into an African household, whatever. You go into an Indian household, you know, you don't see that.
Right.
We learned that from the street.
Yep. That's
we
true.
didn't learn that from our moms don't act like that.
No.
They don't act like that.
Right.
We saw TV and we thought it was popping.
Yep.
And we saw our friends and we thought this is how we're supposed to treat our man.
Yeah.
But we lived in a home where there was peace and there was balance.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, why did we think that this discourse is something we need to adopt?
I think we felt like for example, Tyrese, I can't think of the name of the movie right now. Tyrese and Baby Boy. That we think that's cute. That's cute. You know what I'm saying? That's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
We supposed to be fighting. We supposed Yes, we supposed to fight. We supposed to kiss and make up. You know what I'm saying? We think that's cute. That's what they show us. The society show us on TV. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh yeah, he beat you. You take him back. You know what I'm saying? He curse you out. You take him back. He cheat. You take him back. That's cute. You know, that's love. When he do those things and then you fight about it and then he pulls you in and say, baby, you know I love you. That's what we see and now we think that's love, but that's not.
Exactly.
That's not. You know what I'm saying? We got everything all mixed up. And we need to come back to a place which I'm learning our worth.
Yes.
Like, what are you worth? You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been in bad places in my life, but I'm happy where I am now, and I'm realizing, Tasha, you're worth more than that. Right. You don't deserve that. It may feel good at the moment, it may sound good at the moment, but that's not who you are. That's not what you want. Right. You know what I'm saying? And we need to come back to a place where we know our worth. You know, you go back in history, and I know we've seen these videos where they show women in the 30s and the 40s how they used to dress so elegant. You know, our African American women, how we used to come through all covered, but we was so feminine and fine. You know, now we're in a place where we feel like we have to have our booty cheeks out. First of all, we got to get our booties done. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to get a booty, then have them out. You know what I'm saying? You know, we're in that space.
I mean, me personally, I don't think that the way you dress is something that should be shamed. However you feel like dressing, it should be fine. Obviously, if you have a certain shape and certain type of sexy disposition, you know, it could be dangerous at certain parts, but like, I feel like you should be allowed to wear what you want, and men just have to behave themselves.
That's
but
true.
If you hold yourself,
but yeah, no, we be over the top though. Now, some stuff be over the top. I understand what you're saying.
Yes, some stuff be over the top, but it's also perception. You know, just like people may see us and may see our skin, the perception is that we're baboons. Right. That we're ignorant. That we're unintelligent. That we're ugly. That we're unworthy. Right. You know what I mean? This is the perception that has happened for years and years and years, that is now changing. Black Girl Magic and Dark Skin's Beautiful and all this stuff, it's now changing, but it's a perception. Right. So you see a slutty person, you see somebody quote unquote slutty, they're wearing skimpy clothes, they may feel comfortable in it. Right. It's not my flow, you know, but it's that person's flow. Right. If they have a mind and they're holding themselves with dignity. You know, like, they should be able to rock.
Right.
Like, we all need to start letting go of these judgments and these labels that confine people, because that's part of it too. You know, in the household as we grew up, where we lost our self-worth when we were younger, our parents didn't see us. They didn't see our true identity. They didn't see and recognize. That's where we first get our worth. It's from the home, from our parents. And once they don't acknowledge that, we become peer-oriented. And whatever the streets tell us, whatever our friends tell us, whatever we see on TV is now our teacher. You know, because we lost the soul. We lost who we were because we didn't know it was there. Because our parents didn't acknowledge it.
Exactly.
You know, so we then become people of perception.
Right.
What's on the gram? What's on here? What's on there? And this becomes our
It's
it
taking
becomes
over.
It becomes our reality, and that's something that we need to work towards.
Right, and that's the reason why I had the episode with Talene, because I wanted to hear her voice. Right. Because it's important to hear our children's voices. You know, it's like,
commend you on that.
How do you feel? You know, like, what is it? What's bothering you? What's on your mind? Because I know that I didn't have that. Like, I love my mom, and she did the best that she could with us.
Come on now. Same
you know what I'm saying? But we were raised in different times. They had different, you know, I don't know, different ways of doing things, how they feel. And just hearing our voice and knowing that we have opinion wasn't one of them. It was just basically, like I said, you do as I say, not as I do type thing. So, you know, back then, you know, you didn't hear those voices. So, you know, that's why I had that episode, because I felt like it was so important. Both me and Allison, we can talk for hours. So I think what we're going to do is have like a second segment.
Bonus.
Bonus segment. We're going to end this one because I know a lot of my listeners are not podcasters, and I want them to hear everything that we have to say. I want you guys to soak in everything. So I think I'm going to cut this one and put up a bonus episode to continue what we have to say. To end this episode, I just want to say that friendship isn't about who you've known the longest. It's about who walked into your life and said, I'm here for you, and proved it. And Allison, you have definitely done that. Aww. You have proved your friendship. I love you.
I love you.
And thanks for listening, guys.